tight divisional matchup here in this game. Ultimately, Bills at home, defend home turf, 30-27. They remain in firm control at the top of that division. Let's take a look at the top 5 graded players from the Buffalo Bills. Offensive tackle Spencer Brown's at the top of the list with an 83.7. Guard David Andrews with an 82.4. Offensive tackle Deion Dawkins with a 75.1. All offensive linemen there. And then we'll add another one here at number 4, center Connor McGovern with a 74.8. Pretty good when you're 4 out of the top 5 graded players that you have are along the offensive line. It's normally a recipe for a win in the NFL, or just the game of football in general. Wide receiver Khalil Shakir at number 5 to round things out with a 72.7. Josh Allen in this game is 73.7. On Miami side of things, Jalen Ramsey, who got himself an interception in this game with a 90.2 overall grade. Center Aaron Brewer, who's had a couple of really good games here as of late, 88.9 grade in this one. Running back Devon Achane with a 78.6. Offensive tackle Teron Armstead with a 76.2. Cornerback Kendall Fuller with a 75.2, and then Tua Tagovailoa with a 76.7. Dalton, you know the drill. What do you got in this one?
Okay, so I this is something I say all the time. I'm just going to say it again. I could say it every week. Josh Allen does not get enough credit for his football IQ and what he does mentally on the football field, right? He's 6'5", he's 240 pounds. He's maybe, between him and Lamar, the best rushing threat at the position. He just does not get enough credit for reading coverages and getting the football where it needs to be. Average depth of target in this game, 3.7 yards, the lowest of his career. And it sounds like, oh, wow, Josh Allen's dinking and dunking. Now, how is this a good game for him? It's what the defense essentially told him to do, right? Most of these teams, they sit back now in too high against the Bills. They sit in deep zones, don't get beat over the top, make him complete passes 6-8 yards at a time to win ball games. Well, he goes out there and does that, and then people complain his stats aren't all that great. But he wins ball games, right? Only 6 throws in this game, over 10 air yards, right? Especially in the second half, I thought they did a great job of dialing it back down, put more tight ends on the field, run the football, run some power football early in the third quarter, and then just let Josh kind of work off of it, right? And if the Dolphins want to sit in zones all night, then we'll beat them 7-8 yards at a time, and Allen will grade in the low to mid-70s. And I get it. That kept the Dolphins kind of in this game. They still scored. The Bills still scored 30 points, so it really didn't keep him in the game that much because Allen was willing to work with what they were giving him. But then, on the handful of occasions they get in man coverage, wasn't much in this game, that's where all 3 of his touchdowns came. So Josh Allen, just again, I say it all the time, and actually there was a 4th touchdown he should have had against man coverage, the big run that was called back, I believe it was late in the second quarter. He's just, I think he's in his 7th year in the league. He's a veteran now. He's studied the game, clearly. It's so much better. Like when he came in, you remember his first 2 years in the league, it looked like he couldn't see the field at all. And now I think he's one of the masters of it. I think Allen's ability to manage this game, read coverages, take what the defense gives him. And the Dolphins, they played a good offensive game, but probably as good as they could have hoped for in this game, considering how they usually fare against the Bills. And Allen still found a way to beat them. So I just give credit to what Allen can do on a football field, reading defenses, getting the ball where he's supposed to go.
I'll even add that I think he's underrated in terms of a pre-snap processor, in terms of pre-snap, like understanding what the defense is trying to do, what his offensive line is trying to do so he can get into the right protections. I think I don't want to go too much of a tangent here, but I think one of the things that's happened when you look at like how coaching trees proliferate the league and you see this like Shanahan coaching tree become this thing that everyone wants a Shanahan guy, and it works. Like it obviously works, but like the coordinator holds the hand of the quarterback a lot, especially the young quarterbacks that they've had. And what happened here with Josh Allen is he got a guy named Brian Daboll, who's obviously we know is the head coach of the Giants now, who comes from New England. And a lot of those guys who leave New England and leave Tom Brady do not have a good time because they ask a lot for their quarterbacks. And if you're going to the Raiders and you're asking a lot from Aiden O'Connell last year or whatever it was, or whoever, I don't even remember who started the year for the Raiders last year, but like it's going to be tough. What Josh Allen has done is take this kind of quote-unquote Patriot system, learn all the pre-snap stuff, learn all the post-snap stuff, become unbelievable at it, like you said. And now you can do whatever you want on offense. Joe Brady's done a kind of good job of like keeping things a little simple. They're going to run the football now. They're going to hope that they can get into games in January where they can run the football. It's not all going to be on Josh Allen. This is what they've needed. Josh Allen will have some Superman plays and he'll win some games. And eventually, to be honest, they're going to win a Super Bowl. He's too good. Most quarterbacks who are this good win Super Bowls. And I think that his development in those areas, pre-snap to post-snap, has been probably the best that we've seen in my life watching and really understanding football. So, yeah.
Well, I know you wanted to praise Joe Brady. I
Yeah.
see it on your most impressive.
Yeah, I'm going to bounce on that real quick. You mentioned Joe Brady. I think it's another game where he's done a spectacular job, and he just knows. You mentioned it with the play calling. I thought I saw it especially in the second half. The way he controlled the safeties in this game, the way he controlled the fronts in this game, sometimes, a lot of what's hard about defending the Bills is they can spread it out and even go as far as empty. When you talk about Allen seeing the field and pre-snap reads, almost like Joe Brady used to do with Joe Burrow at LSU, right? When they went empty and it was just unstoppable. But they can also get in 12 personnel. They can put Kincaid and Dawson Knox and even a Quentin Morris on the field who caught a crazy touchdown yesterday, right? And dial it down and back up. And I think the ability, again, I've said this since the preseason with the Bills. I know they don't have Stephon Diggs. I know they don't have a Justin Jefferson or a Tyreek Hill. I know they traded for Amari Cooper now, didn't play yesterday, and that helps with some of the man-to-man situations. But they have so many weapons and so many different looks that they can give you, that the best weapon is Allen, whether it's his arm or his legs, and his mind going along with that. They have this offense where you can't just bracket one guy because he's going to find the other hole. You can't rotate it one way or the other. You just have to play really good balanced defense, and there's so many threats, 8, 9, 10 guys who they could trust with the ball in their hands, and that's what happened in this game, even without Amari Cooper.
By the way, do you know who started the season at quarterback for the Raiders?
Jimmy G.
Jimmy G, baby.
Yeah, of course.
Jimmy
of course.
G. Just wanted to make sure.
But that's
we got that
fascinating because
little
you have,
trivia
he was in with the Patriots, Jimmy
Yep.
G. Then he goes to San Francisco and he has those great years. I mean, they won a lot of games in San Francisco. Then he goes back and he's like he didn't evolve as a quarterback in enough ways. So now he goes back to Josh McDaniels, and it's bad. I mean, the team is bad too, but like it's bad, right? Because he's not in control. He doesn't have mastery of the offense. Josh Allen has mastery of this Bills offense, and it's been through different coordinators because he is the guy.
It feels like he's got mastery of the game at this
Yes,
point, right? What
yes.
is this? If he finishes with an elite PFF grade this season, will that be 5 in a row? 6 in a row?
Him and Brady are the only two with 4 90-plus grades in 4 years
consecutive
in a row.
seasons. So
Yeah.
this will be 5 for him, which is insane to me. Yeah, you talk about having mastery of this team. And something that I like the most, I don't know if this is the most impressive or just a general thought here, when I was really looking for something to point out from this game where I go, okay, this is the reason why the Buffalo Bills won. On the defensive side of things, thought the safeties played well, thought Hamlin and Rapp played well, but it's not like they were really taking over. It's not that there was a takeover performance on the defensive side of the football. Then you go to offense and you go, okay, well, they ran the ball really well. I think the offensive line deserves a lot of credit. Like I said, this is a group where all 5 of their starting offensive linemen had pass blocking grades above 76, which is fantastic. 89.2 pass blocking grade as a team this past week, 7.3 pressure percentage, which was 3rd best in the NFL in week 9. So all of that is obviously really good. But then you look at like some of the receivers. It was extremely diverse. It was Ray Davis, it was Khalil Shakir, but it was also like Mac Hollins and Dawson Knox was in there. You of course get Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid, and then you go to rushing the football. It's James Cook, it's Ty Johnson, it's Ray Davis, it's Josh Allen, and so this was just a beautifully balanced game from the Buffalo Bills. And it was close, right? The game was very close. It's a divisional opponent. They know each other very well. They want to beat one another. And I think it was sort of the fact that one team has Josh Allen, but the other is that the Buffalo Bills were at home. If this game's played in Miami, maybe it's just a little bit different, and maybe Miami wins this football game. But I just loved that we have talked for a couple of years now about how Josh Allen needs some sort of help. And now this is an example of a game, in my opinion, where you realize how comfortable the Buffalo Bills are in not only who they have on the team, but the play caller in Joe Brady, and they're okay with taking the ball out of Josh Allen's hands. And that is a first for me in the last couple of years because of how good he is, and it's understandable that you wouldn't want to do that, but they have a lot of faith in the guys that are on that roster. So kudos to the Bills, who continue to play well here in 2024, 7-2 on the season. And a great job by them. Most disappointing here before.
Just the Dolphins didn't get after Allen at all. The only guy who was getting any sort of pressure at all was the rookie Chop Robinson, and it's just it seems to be every week something with this Dolphin defense. But they only had 8 pressures all day, a sack in the last 2 minutes by Robinson, and he was the only player who rushed the passer at least 5 times with a pass rush win rate over 6%. So, I mean, it was just, other than Chop Robinson, just non-existent pass rush. And Allen can do all of the things that we've mentioned he can do, the laundry list of things, because, well, he's back there clean and he's got time to be able to operate the offense. So the Dolphins, look, the secondary was a little bit better in this game, albeit conservative. This time the pass rush let them down. It just, their defense I don't think the Dolphins defense has played one cohesive game other than maybe the New England game, and even then they're a Jalen Polk like toenail from losing that game. So I don't think the Dolphins defense has played a cohesive game 60 minutes all year.
I'll go to the other side of the ball, talk about Tua and this offense, because I don't this is going to sound so stupid, but I don't have an idea of how this Sean McDermott coach defense always deals with this really high-powered Tua-led Miami Dolphins offense, other than they're just coached well. Yeah. I don't get it.
Whole lot of cover two.
A whole lot of cover two.
They trust that front seven.
And they ran the ball well. Mostert and Achane both had above 5 yards per carry. Like, they ran the ball well in this game.
They do get into the windows that I think Tua wants to throw, or this offense wants to throw, which is like these in-breaking windows to Waddle and Tyreek. And you saw one where one each by Tyreek and Waddle, and that's just going to happen. But they're really disciplined in making sure that they move Tua off his first read, because then this offense has massive problems. They're not good enough on the offensive line for the quarterback to cycle through his reads back there. The quarterback's not a good enough mover in the pocket to do that. So if you can get your linebackers to be disciplined and drop in windows, because this is what this offense does, is it gets the linebackers' head spinning with where they want to attack in the middle of the field. And McDermott, like, they've had so many different players, especially down the spine of that defense. Linebackers have changed over the past 3 years, and you have the Milano injury. Safeties now, for the first time in his tenure, are different with Rapp and Hamlin starting back there, and it doesn't matter. They're just coached so well that it doesn't. The talent, the sum of their parts are better than the individual talent.